Greetings and welcome to Austin, Texas Gardening. My name is Matthew Watrich and I'm here in my backyard again. Today is January the 31st and we're going to be taking a look at the state of the garden here with all of the freezing rain and winter weather that we're getting as we're getting ready to head into the month of February. This is going to be a relatively short video just discussing, as I mentioned, the state of the garden and some of the things that we're going to be impacted by this winter. So obviously, if you've been in Texas for a couple of years now, you probably remember the historic winter storm of February 2021. That is definitely not what we're facing, but it's very cold. I'm out here today. I don't know if this is showing up on audio, but every step I'm taking, these weeds and grass here are all frozen. And what's worse, 3 of my peach trees here, 3 that were doing the best, decided to take an early bloom because we had temperatures in the 60s in December and early January. They got a little confused. And now we have these flowers that have come out to bloom, but have a little bit of freezing rain on them. And so in previous videos, I've used bubble wrap and burlap to insulate my fruit trees, and I'm about to head to my garage and wrap these boys up. I just wanted to show the before of the state of the flowers. And, today is Tuesday. So this isn't even the bulk of the rain. I think the bulk of the rain we're going to get on Wednesday morning throughout the day. Obviously, Texas has pretty crazy inclement weather. We'll have triple-digit highs in the summers, and in the winter we are impacted by these type of situations. Obviously, there are some neat things growing in this in this raised bed here that's frozen shut. I've got a whole bunch of radishes in here. Let's see if we can pull this back a little bit so I can show you. So for example, these are coming along great. I've got a radish there and a whole bunch of other ones down underneath this icy blanket. Strawberries have been coming along well also, as you can see there. We got everything underneath this very iced out comforter. And then over here, we've got some carrots and onions that I featured in previous videos. We're not going into all of this for a garden tour. I'm just generally demonstrating that a comforter is great protection from freezing rain. I mean, this thing is fairly iced out, and that ice being on the comforter rather than on my onions and carrots is what I was looking for. So the good news is that the rest of these trees aren't necessarily blooming. So fig trees, this peach tree here has got a little bloom going on there, and then a couple of these likewise. We need to wrap these up, but not every tree is blooming. This one looks like it was right on the verge. I can kind of see a couple of blooms right there, but for the most part, hopefully, I'm not too worried about this though. If all my blooms die this spring, that just means that I've fertilized with some nitrogen, which I'm planning on doing a later video on. I'm looking for some aggressive growth this spring, not necessarily fruit. So if my blooms die, that's okay, but we want to get our trees wrapped up and protect them the best we can. So let's get started. All right, so we have this tree all wrapped up, and the material that I'm using for this tree is bubble wrap, just orange bubble wrap on top, and on bottom, that burlap sack is called a planket. It's something I purchased at Home Depot, and I've actually been using for years. So both of these pieces of material were used in my original winter gardening guide videos that I filmed back in 2020. And I found a way to tie these up without actually using any tape. So my fruit tree here is wrapped in the planket, which I've covered 100% of the blooming area. I haven't covered the trunk down at the bottom. That's not that important. And I've wrapped a piece of bubble wrap over the top and then used other pieces to tie around the sides to better insulate the planket so that when the freezing rain actually falls, it won't stick to or get through the planket. So the one problem with this is that if this gets covered in a lot of freezing rain, it'll get really heavy. So word to the wise, you have 2 choices when it comes to this freezing rain. You can cover your fruit trees or bushes with a tarp or something, which is basically what I'm doing here. Or you can just leave them out, like these here. And they still need to be covered. I'm going to go back inside and get some more material. But The harm of leaving these uncovered wouldn't be that great, as I kind of mentioned in a previous comment. And so these buds here obviously would die off and not fruit to maturity, but it's not going to kill the tree. Ultimately, if these buds all fall off and die, the nitrogen fertilizer that I've put down is going to really invigorate these trees to grow well and put out next season. And so, when it comes to any freezes like this is really par for the course. In Texas, the annual Texas Zone 8B, so that's Central Texas, our annual average last freeze is on February 15th. So, getting something like this is totally normal, very much par for the course. We're going to continue to take care of our plants and our raised bed that are wrapped and unwrapped. And stay tuned for the February garden tour. There should be a winter harvest of my radishes, carrots, and some of the other things that I'm growing. And you'll also get to see how the backyard orchard is doing. So, once again, thank you for watching Austin, Texas Gardening.